Hammer are making ridiculous claim that critics have tanked the Lone Ranger.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting, because one of the few things from all that is that I don't think so. Also, I heard that Johnny Depp was actually blaming the Brobheimer company. And
really?
actually saying it's all their fault. But however, the way I look at it, we have a great character said before in previous episodes of the Weekly Training Phantom Show.
Yep.
When you have the head character, the Lone Ranger, being dragged through horse poop, literally, it's like, well, whose fault's this? And on top of it, Johnny Depp, who is, of course, Johnny Depp, doing his thing.
Yep.
And you have this new-time actor stepping up. Which way do you think the lens is going to lean towards? Mm-hmm. So the thing is that I honestly think that Johnny Depp...
Well, I don't know. Well, they've done that before with, what was it, Breakpoint.
Yeah. How old is Breakpoint?
I think so.
And how old is it?
I forget how.
It's ancient, isn't it?
It's ancient.
That's right.
They had another big name on it, but they focused on somebody else.
Yeah. So that's Keanu Reeves.
Why couldn't they have done that?
Well, exactly. But the thing is that they didn't, because Johnny Depp,
it's Johnny Depp.
He attracts the actual spotlight, and on top of that, the thing is that, for me, what ruined the movie completely is you have the iconic Lone Ranger going high hole silver and away, and then you have Tonto telling the Lone Ranger, "Don't ever do that." It's like, what? So you have all of these really awkward moments that should have been on the cutting room floor, on film, on the big screen.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? Just craziness. Craziness. So the way I look at it is that I personally think that it's everyone's fault with this project, because Johnny Depp should look at that and say, I'm not doing it. And the thing is that this is about the Lone Ranger, not about Tonto. But the thing is that, question is now, is his own ego that pushed things forward? That's the interesting part.
That would be interesting.
Yes, it is. So the thing is that
ego pushed it forward, yeah.
And when the critics are looking at the screen saying, okay, you've taken the Lone Ranger, an iconic North American character, and you literally dragged him through the shit. What do you expect us to say? Poop jokes for the 10-year-olds? Yeah, we need that in there. What about storytelling and so forth? Like, I almost had to wash my mouth out with the original Lone Ranger movie from the 80s to try to forget some of the horrific stuff I was going through. And at the same time, here, to make things even more funnier, if you compare both movies side by side, in the last quarter of the movie, they almost have the exact same sequence. Almost verbatim. Which is interesting. Very interesting to see.
I don't know, they did that with Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Also, speaking of Star Trek, really quickly, did you know that the new director that they had on board is not doing it?
A new director that's not doing it.
That's right. They had someone on board. Unfortunately, I don't have it in my notes. I do forget that.
I do know that they had a new. I know that they had a new director, and his name was not J.J. Abrams.
It was not. It was somebody else.
It was not Mr.
But you read this? Who cares? He's left the project. So one up, one down, done.
One up, one
I
down.
personally think J.J. Abrams is going to come back. My personal opinion, I think is going to find some sort of loophole in the Star Wars contract, get out of it, and direct Star Trek again. And the Star Trek fans are going to go, yay!
And then the Star Wars fans would go, yay!
It's going to be very interesting to put this all together. But however, quick question for you.
Yep.
What do you think of this return of Star Wars? Like, the thing is that I heard that they plan to make a Star Wars live TV show. Now, when I heard about that really briefly, it didn't quite work for me, because I always seen Star Wars, except for the animated stuff, to be more on the big screen versus the small screen. And I personally think they go back to the small screen. I think it's going to wreck it.
If they're well, the other thing is, right now on television, we are clearly lacking in a very heavy space-oriented sci-fi. For sure. We've lost our Battlestar Galactica. We've lost Stargate Universe.
Yeah. I didn't like Stargate anyways.
There were people that really enjoyed it. So, I enjoyed it when it was Atlantis. I enjoyed it when it was SG-1. I didn't get to catch any of Universe, but
I really enjoyed Farscape.
Farscape was also good.
Friggin' amazing.
But like I said, at the moment, we have a giant void of that. So
I don't think Star Wars is the best way to do it.
I could see them go. Now, here's my idea.
All right, let's hear it.
Instead of going with your main character's main everything, have a different side group that's happening.
You know what? I understand where you're going with this.
Tell us same kind of thing, but have them off in a different corner of the galaxy, having their own little adventures.
No, for sure. I totally understand what you're saying, but here's my whole aspect behind it.
Yeah.
Star Trek works for TV.
Yep.
It also works for the big screen.
Yep.
The thing is, they managed to divide their actual audience base between those two mediums.
Yep.
But I don't see Star Trek working in the television medium. That's
Star
my big
Wars,
thing. Because the thing is, it's supposed to be a big screen project. But the thing is that, again, I heard rumors that Disney saying, no, we're going to squeeze all the essence from this cash cow and make it into an actual TV series.
Well,
it's like, what?
Considering the number of cartoon shows that they've squeezed out
But
of
the thing
it.
is that that's cartoons, though. That's a whole different medium as well. That's the funny part behind all this.
True.
Yeah.
We'll see.
For sure. So
We'll have to see.
Very interesting how this all comes together. And on top of all that, just to recap really quickly, we talked about Pacific Rim 2.
Yep.
About how the Chinese market actually really opened up, and there may be a sequel, a positive-ish sequel in the works from that. We talked about Sam Rockwell. We're basically possibly getting involved with Poltergeist as well.
Yep.
And we talked about Star Wars. We also talked about
Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger. Yep, that's a headache that hopefully will go away sometime shortly. Johnny Depp, just make a new film. Move on. Also, just a little bit news as well. 10 bits of minor things here. Steven Spielberg is not directing The American Sniper.
Yep.
Quoting artistic differences, which is very interesting. Plus, on top of that, Samuel L. Jackson is basically set to be the villain in this new movie called Secret Service, which is very interesting because on top of that, they have Colin Farrell involved with it. Plus, on top of that, they also have Michael Caine. So it should be interesting.
Okay, I'm expecting a what motherfucker.
Yeah, that's going to be very good for that together. But however, the thing is, it's just recently put all together. So,
okay.
So that being said, let's hop on the top 5 movies
five.
that did extremely well over the weekend. All right, well, to start with, we have number 5. Basically down from number 3 to number 5.
Yep.
Screw that over completely. Despicable Me 2 coming in at $10.1 million. Not too bad. Good lunch money with that. Down from number 2 to number 4 is A Cauldron coming at $13 million. Nice number, 13.
Okay.
Very spectrum. Also on top of that, opening this weekend, Smurfs 2. Which is very interesting, but the thing's open up number 3 spot versus number 1 spot. But it's a lot better than talking about an Adam Sandler film. So that's why I threw it in.
Okay.
That basically opened up at $17.5 million.
Yep.
So this franchise is in a lot of trouble right now because the thing is that it opened up below expectations. And it should be interesting how this works out in the larger scheme of things. Down from number 1 to number 2 is the Wolverine coming at $21.3 million.
21.3.
Yep, and then opening over the weekend, the movie that I was really excited to see, which is I'm very happy to see it in the number 1 spot, is Two Guns coming in at $17.1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think of Two Guns?
I haven't seen it yet.
No?
I just saw the previews, and I was laughing my cellular butt off for the whole aspect. And I thought, the thing is that when you have the 2 actors got involved with that, you have a really good franchise going on. Denzel Washington, followed by Marky Mark. So, where can you go wrong? And also on top of that,
if they can improve on the 2 guys with guns, aside from your Men in Black and your R.I.P.D.
Well, you got that as well. But however, the thing is that with this, what I saw from the previews, they're not making another Men in Black 5 or 6. This is actually 2 guys who really hate each other with real guns, and it's their actual relationship / adventure through all of this type of stuff. Okay. So the thing is that, again, right now we're looking at a very dumbed down movie audience, and usually I don't like dumbed down movies. When I saw this, I went, yeah, this has my attention, because it's a comedy / action film.
Okay.
So it should be interesting how this all comes together. Will I go into the theater to see it? Probably after when I move. At that point in time, I don't no longer be in circulation, so I'm going to have to watch it online.
Yeah.
But when you got Downtown Washington, and you got Marky Mark.
Yep.
You got Marky Mark is coming up. Mark Wahlberg.
Yep.
That's his real name. Coming up to the actual developing his action chops and stuff like that. So he's actually starting to develop a plethora of work. And also we got Downtown Washington doing his thing.
Yeah.
He knows how to select it, regardless of how bad it is.
True.
So it should be interesting how this does next week. Because right now, all the movies that I've talked about as well, Despicable Me is doing extremely well.
Extremely well. I'm surprised to see it's still on the list.
For sure. Plus, on top of that, if you go to our Breakdown article, that's actually at the magazine called Breakdown at breakdownmagazine.ca, you can see our article talking about the demise of the actual blockbuster movie and the rise of the actual family movie. But however, when you go to through the online magazine, it's difficult to read. So I may make something online, point some people towards that. And the thing is that sometimes glitches take place, and this is one of these times, which is very unfortunate. But I have Dora wrote a fantastic article about that. So the thing is that, yeah, we'll post on the Weekly Training fandom page once we have that all taken care of. And basically, you can always follow us on our Weekly Training fandom page, which is www.wtfshow.com/Facebook.
Okay.
And let's see. Any movie news in your end of things, by chance?
Nope. I don't have anything else.
All right.
That's it.
Very good. So with that being said, let's take a bit of a break, and we're looking about 30 minutes left in the segment, unless Jeff doesn't show up and we steal more airtime. So that being said, let's play some stuff, and we'll come back. All right.
All right.
Perfect.
Good Work Productions is basically a production of stories that might not ever get the chance to see the light of day, but we have the tools, we have the time, we have the people, we have the resources to help people find that voice. So really it's to do with the community and help and inform. We really are a community tool. We recently made a project with a young chap called Brendan. His story really spoke to me because he wanted to tell a story that I hadn't been involved in a story like that before. I want to know other things, I want to learn, I want to be involved. I started filmmaking at the age of 16 but didn't really think about doing it as a profession until the age of 19. As a filmmaker, other filmmakers who influence me are people who talk about real stories, social realism, Bill Forsyth, Ken Loach. I'm a big fan of Gus Van Sant, films like Elephant, Jerry, his recent film Promised Land. But I want to tell stories that have more of a social dialogue, and it really informs me, then hopefully informs someone else who may watch the film. I want to learn, so when I see someone else's story, I want to get involved in that story and understand. It's not about massively entertaining people, it's about telling real stories, and that's what we do at Good Work Productions.